Hello and welcome to TSK F1 this Friday morning. And it's Red Bull launch day for their car/livery. Are we going to see a new Red Bull car today or last year's car re-liveried? We'll find out later, and we're going to be talking about that and potential partnership with Ford from Red Bull. And Jost Capito has been speaking about new teams entering Formula One, and Williams with somewhat of an embarrassing mistake. But without further ado, let's jump into it. Please do make sure you're liking the video and subscribing, guys. But first of all, we're going to talk about, well, indirectly, I suppose, it's Andretti Cadillac coming into Formula One. And Jost Capito, the ex-boss of Williams, who has just left, has been speaking about new teams coming into Formula One with Grand Prix News.net. And he's been saying basically that people need to be able to prove that they've got financial stability and sustainability and have positive societal impact criteria fulfilled. There's a high level of interest for a number of potential candidates is further proof of the popularity and growth of a championship. And it's a super interesting thing. And this is where I've been sat for quite some time. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me. This is where I've been sat for quite some time, just reading the news articles every morning and having a look round for new stuff. It just always seems to me that if Andretti was serious, they'd already be involved, right? They may well get involved in the future. I could get proved wrong, but it's as if they're fishing for exposure to get the right backing, right? And because they've said different stuff. They've said stuff about Cadillac, which is counter word, contradictory. They've said stuff about Cadillac that's contradictory and things like that. So it's a difficult one. The FIA has said that the conditions are right for interested parties which meet the selection criteria to express a formal interest in entering the championship. And Jost Capito told Germany's Auto Bild that one thing is clear: only teams that really have the right infrastructure and financial background to pull it off should come. I don't think it would be good for Formula One if a team came in and left quite quickly. That's why the teams want to come in have to prove that they can do it. And this is what I've said from the get-go. Okay, we're using this whole premise of dilution of prize pool funds, but this is still rumbling on. And honestly, this is where this is where I've been, because he says, yes, but building Formula One team is different, right, than other teams and anything else. So you'd have to look closely at the details. As long as I was at Williams, Andretti's connection to GM didn't exist. And this is the problem, isn't it? With Andretti, we've heard two different things now about Cadillac, GM, that there would be immediately intellectual property from Cadillac/GM in the engine, but we've also heard that Andretti would be in with Renault early doors. So what's the story? It seems to contradict, and they were quotes very close to each other, and, it's a difficult one. I personally... They've said it's not, but I think it's like a branding deal, much like we might talk about soon. But they're saying it's not. Well, Andretti have said it's not a branding deal, that it's an actual intellectual property deal. Now, the only way that happens is GM making a power unit, and I've read nothing to that effect, even from GM. I've not seen anything that actually says they're going to make a Formula One power unit at all anywhere. I've seen that they're interested in Formula One, but nothing to do with them making a power unit. Maybe you guys have actually read different, but hearsay and opinion is different to quotes. And Andretti are the ones that have said intellectual property would be in the power unit. I don't see that's how that's possible unless they're making some kind of fuel pump for a Renault engine or something. and it's their IP, but no idea. But it just rumbles on with Jost Capito, who's not in Williams anymore. Don't forget, he's pretty much backing up the other teams in saying they need to make sure that teams can sustain the level of Formula One, because some of you may remember, failed teams of the past that used to come into Formula One and fail. And I'm trying off the top of my head to think of teams that came in and were not there very long at all. Was Spiker one of them? Am I making Spiker up? Spiker. I want to say there was one called HRT. There was, were Marussia considered that? I don't know. But we went through a phase in Formula One over maybe a decade where teams came and went quite quickly. And I think Formula One wants to avoid that, which I don't think is a bad thing. And I think, HRT, see, Minardi, in my memory, were around quite a while, same with Arrows, but HRT really weren't, were they? And I think that's what Formula One is trying to avoid. And I don't think it's a bad thing, because Toto Wolff has said it, Christian Horner's said it, where they're saying, okay, if you've got $1 billion, come to the table. They're basically saying how much it costs. We might have the cost cap and things like that, but the cost cap doesn't cover everything. It doesn't cost $140 million to run a Formula One team for a season. That isn't how it works, right? And it's just a staggering amount of money that's required. And I think that's all they're saying. I think that's all the Formula One teams are saying. If you're serious, you'd have this back in. And I still stand by Andretti keeping this stance up to try and gather investors and gather interested parties. I've got nothing against Andretti. I'd love to see more teams in Formula One, but it's a difficult one. And let's be real about it. Jost Capito's not in Formula One anymore, and he's still saying the same thing as pretty much all the rest of the teams. So yeah. I'd love to know what you guys think. It's fine to disagree with me, because opinions are where it's at, right? If you think Andretti is serious, like some people in comments on other streams have said that they think Andretti is serious and it's like a closed elite club in Formula One, but I'd love to know your opinion on that. Now, a little bit of an embarrassing thing happened yesterday, because it's an interesting one, this. Yesterday morning, was it yesterday morning that I did the Williams concept livery sort of bit on the news show? We were sort of guessing at the Gulf partnership. It was a guess, and it was an informed guess, but it was a guess. Since then, probably mid-afternoon yesterday, something like that, Williams messed up and made their Gulf Oil partnership sponsor page public. So it is a thing. It is a thing. And the interesting thing now, they removed the page, but people knew, they'd realized, and now the update is Williams have created a partner page dedicated to Gulf. However, the partnership has not been officially announced yet. So someone at Williams dropped a ball and announced the Gulf partnership before it was meant to be announced. And I'm daring to dream we get something like this, just for the grid. And honestly, Gulf, you look back at like Le Mans and things like that. Wasn't it Porsches that used to run the Gulf livery? I could be wrong, but the livery itself is iconic, isn't it? The Gulf orange and the sort of blue color. It's iconic in motorsport, and then more recently we had McLaren running it. But for me, in my mind, it makes me think of classic Le Mans colors and things like that. And I'd love to see that kind of thing. Now, is it going to be one of these partnerships where they're going to have a little Gulf symbol on the rear wing, or is it going to be a title sponsorship. I don't know. But either way, as a bit of a, I suppose, traditionalist, it's really good to see Williams getting sponsors in, getting a sponsor in like Gulf, because it's all money, right? And despite having better backing than they have maybe in the past decade or so, Williams getting sponsors and stuff like that. Ford GT, was it Ford GT? I thought it was Porsches for some reason in my head, John. I don't know why I thought that, but it's an iconic livery, and that's all I've got in my head. Cheers. I love that at the highest level of commercial motorsport, these clangers are still dropped. I know, it's crazy. It's crazy, right? Has there been Porsches with it too? Okay. It was just in my head, you know, when you think something. I would really like this to be the Williams that we see. I think, what's the date on the Williams? 6th of February. I was just checking my whiteboard. 6th of February is the Williams livery reveal. Now, unfortunately, I've got a bit of a scheduling problem, and I'm not going to be able to cover Red Bull or Williams live, but I will be doing like a reaction video to the pictures and what I think of it after each one. It's a bit unfortunate, but life's life, and there's nothing you can do about it. How do I send a link to someone for a link to your channel? You can click on the share button, Gled. There should be a share button just below the video, like an arrow type thing. Big mad Porsche Le Mans car, beautiful thing. Yeah. And that's what it makes me think of those times in motorsport. I know not strictly Formula One. Gled, it is just TSK Formula One on YouTube. But yeah, that's a concept, by the way. It's a concept that isn't the Williams livery, but this Sharia Naya, I don't know, but props and shout out to person in the bottom corner there. Absolutely mega work. Can we expect a Piastri style tweet from Gulf for Williams partnership? Maybe, Robbie, maybe. Fantastic. Yeah. Gulf are not partnered with Williams. Now, but I think that'd be great. And I would love it to be a principal sponsorship, like that. It'd look great. Now, here's same person. They've been absolutely smashing out the amazing concept art of the cars. But the Red Bull livery launch is today, and it will be live on the Red Bull channel here on YouTube. I will be covering it after the fact, but it's live at 2:30. UK time. They're launching in New York. Now, we're going to get into why they might be launching in New York in a moment. There are a couple of reasons potentially why they're launching in New York, because there was a little bit of confusion about that. Please make sure you're smashing a like on the video, guys. But a lot of people are actually thinking Red Bull are going to part ways with what has been their traditional sort of livery for years. Like, how long have they been liveried fairly similar to this? A very long time. Pretty much the whole time they have been known as Red Bull as a team, right? Instead of just Red Bull as a principal sponsor. And a lot of people are thinking they're going to change their branding and things. Now, I don't really see they're trying to I don't know whether they're going to do that. It'd be quite a departure, wouldn't it, if they changed it. Now, I'm going to find out. I'm going to look at it after the fact and just see if we can see anything. It's billed as a car launch, but there were last year as well, and we only got new liveries. But I'm hoping to see something different. I do every season, whether we get a bright yellow Ferrari, whether we get, I don't know, a bloody bright Red Bull something. I don't know, just something different. I'd like Red Bull to run one of their testing liveries for the entire season. That's what I'd like to see. It would be absolutely mega. But that is at, I think it's 9:30 a.m. American, is it Eastern time, and 2:30 p.m. UK time, and it's going to be streamed on their YouTube channel, and I'll be doing a reaction video sort of this evening and putting it on the channel as well. I'm really looking forward to that, because this really, what have we had so far? Just Haas, haven't we? And we've got, in the next week, we've got today Red Bull, we've got Monday Williams, and I think it's Tuesday, we've got Alfa Romeo as well. And then the week after, we get Aston Martin, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, and Alpine. So everything all very close the week after, with testing starting in Bahrain on the 23rd of February and the first race weekend on the 3rd of March. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm super hyped for F1 this season. I really, really am. Now, another thing that I wanted to sort of bring to you guys. Now, we've been saying this for absolutely ages. I honestly, it's months I've been saying this. Months and months and months. I haven't got any kind of inside track. I wish I did. But Ford, yesterday, there was all kinds of leaks. This is one of the reasons they're thinking Red Bull are going to be launching in New York. One of the reasons, because they're going to announce a partnership with Ford from 2026. Now, this is incredible news. If it's true, this is incredible news, because Ford should be in Formula One. With their history in the sport, it's just right. If you don't know, then that's okay. I think they've got something like 12 Drivers' World Championships. They've got 10 Constructors' World Championships. They've got Indy 500 wins. They've got all sorts of stuff going on at Ford. And they should be in the sport. And I'm super excited. And I hope it's just not, I hope it's not just a naming thing. I hope it's not just a naming thing. You know, I hope it's not just Red Bull Ford and Ford pay X amount of money to have Ford on the side of the Red Bull, but really it's just Red Bull powertrains and so on and so forth. I don't know. I believe, if memory serves, that Red Bull powertrains, I feel like they got the IP, the intellectual property for the Honda engines. I could be wrong about that, and whether there's going to be some kind of technical partnership there. Now, Ford, they're just a Goliath. They are a Goliath, and if they want to be in Formula One and they want to be in Formula One, they could be, and there's no reason they couldn't do as well as they have in the past. There's no reason. Same with Audi. I've been saying about Audi, if they want to win, Audi will win. If Ford want to win, they will win. It's up to them. And I know that might sound really dismissive of the other teams, but they're just huge with massive racing heritage, and you know, it's all to do with what they want to do. Now, are they just getting involved on a naming thing? Is it a technical partnership? What is it we're going to be seeing? Now, Prime Spike saying bring the Cosworths back. I'm not sure that's on the table. I'm not sure that's one on the table. 2 new teams coming in 25-26, one of them Ford. No. So specifically, Gled, what is being said right now is that we'll have Audi, but they're actually not a new team. They're taking over Alfa Romeo, right? So they're in partnership with Sauber. So Alfa Romeo will change its name to, I think actually Alfa Romeo could for a short time become Sauber again on the grid because of how the sponsorship with Alfa Romeo is. And then that Sauber will become Audi in 2026 with a chassis built by in the Sauber headquarters with a powertrain from Audi. But it is Audi. It's all Audi works. It is Audi. And Ford partnership would be with Red Bull powertrains and Red Bull. So it wouldn't be a new team. It would be like a powertrain arrangement. So it's not a new team. And then obviously the other one that would be a new team entirely with no partnerships with an existing team would be Andretti if they can make it to the grid. I have my doubts about that. People can have their own opinions on that. I have my doubts about Andretti. So I suppose it's a new team, the Audi, isn't it? But I've been trying to sort of make it clear Audi are partnering with Sauber. Basically, they're in partnership with Sauber, and that's how that's coming to be, because Alfa Romeo is still Sauber, like now. But I'd like to see more teams. We've done many videos now on powertrain providers coming back in. And Ford, was it like 2-3 months ago? I said this, Ford, and now it's coming to pass. You know what? Look, slow sports news, guys. Slow sports news. Sky are just reporting it this morning. Slow sports news. What are you going to say? What are you going to do? Just come to TSKF1 for all your news, and you'll get it months before everyone else, mate. Trust me. Trust me. And the F1 boss were miles ahead. We were miles ahead on that one as well. Absolutely miles ahead. But there you go. 2:30 today, UK time. That's when the Red Bull launch will be. Will Andretti be likely to use Chevrolet or Ford engines to make an all-American team? No. They would be using GM, unless they own Chevrolet, but it's under the Cadillac badge. It's under the Cadillac badge, isn't it? So it's GM. Where did I have that picture? 1 minute, I did have the picture. There. Andretti Cadillac. That is the partnership right now. And like I've said, they have conflicting stories at what would be going on there. Cadillac pretty much said it would be like a naming thing. Andretti said it wouldn't be. And also they're known to have a signed agreement with Renault to provide engines already. So how it would have any GM IP in it, I don't know, because it's already known to be a Renault engine. But there we are. That's where we're at with the Andretti thing. It's just another thing as to why I'm unsure as to whether they're serious or not. Please do smash a like on the stream, guys. I'm off now. That is the end of the F1 news, but I will be making a little video later on about the Red Bull, the new Red Bull car, once we've got screenshots and things like that. Please do make sure you subscribe just under the video, guys. And I'll be back with videos and back on Monday with, it's the Williams one, isn't it? It's the Williams one on Monday. So thanks a lot, guys. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you very soon. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.